All right, the sixth big concept when it comes to dealing with low back pain is I will decrease the stress placed on my low back if I can maximize the mobility and strength of my hip complex. These hips are meant to move, okay? There's a reason why they're ball and socket, okay? The lumbar spine is not really meant to rotate. There's very little rotational movement allowed there. So we want to create as much, we want to send as much force into this area as possible in order to decrease the stress placed here. When it comes to like hip mobility, stability, and low back pain, it can end up being like a chicken or egg argument, like what came first. Because if you have a very tight low back, you won't have a ton of hip mobility. The two things will go hand in hand. However, it is, from a clinical perspective, it's typically easier to start with, let's start with unlocking the low back, and then let's move into maximizing your hip mobility and stability. Some of the best exercises for just maximizing that hip mobility with low back sparing strategies is getting really good at hip hinging. So these are like deadlift type maneuvers. Anything that sends those hips back. You keep your low back over your center of mass, so there's really not a ton of force through that low back. All the force is out here. Really learning how to do that on a regular basis is a key concept there. And it's not about like deadlifting weight off the ground. Like you want to take that concept when you're like unloading the dishwasher. So if I was going to be like unloading the dishwasher, I don't want to be doing it from this position where my weight is on my toes and I'm kind of falling forward, because that will tighten up the low back. If I was unloading the dishwasher, I'd want to maximize, I want to shift into the hip, and then I want to put the force here in order to unload that dishwasher or pick stuff off the ground, any of those things. So those are all just extensions of how do you decrease the stress in the low back and spread that force out into the other areas of your body that are better at absorbing that force.